Hey everybody, welcome to Camel City Chat. I'm your
doing?
host, John McPherson, and I am here with, if you don't know this man, you're in trouble, Owens Daniels. You better put S's at both of them. He is a phenomenal photographer who just interprets life in and around Winston-Salem, and I'm just so lucky to have you here. Of course, we're here together because Chad told me that I should ask you, and Chad told you that I don't know what he did. He must have held a gun or something. I mean, I appreciate you being here. I know you're busy as all get out.
Yeah. I'm really busy.
We're at Cranky's, and we're going to talk about that in a minute. When we get to the break, we'll talk about why we're at Cranky's, because this is kind of cool. But you've seen the show.
Yep.
You know what I'm going to ask first.
Yeah.
All right, you ready?
Yeah.
What's your favorite place to eat?
My favorite place to eat is on 4th Street. It's called Thai Chai.
Okay.
They have an amazing fresh food of Thai food.
Okay. All right. So Thai Chai right up the street here.
Yep.
Do you get the soups and the bowls? What do you like there?
I like the sweet and sour hot soup.
Okay.
I like it in the big flaming bowl kind of thing.
Okay.
Shrimp fried rice, chicken wings, egg foo young, that kind of thing.
When you want to go to lunch?
I'll go to lunch anytime.
All right, we'll do that as a thank you, okay? Have you been to Basil Thai, or Thai Basil?
That's my second favorite place.
All right, and then what the other one is Chang Thai. Have you been
Chang
there?
Thai, been all three.
They're great.
Yep.
They're all three great. Yeah, we've been to Basil Thai twice. I think the last 2 date nights we've been to Basil Thai.
Yeah.
Because we just love the food. It's good
Intimate
stuff.
place too. I like
I'll definitely come down
the
here.
way it's laid out.
Yeah.
I like the way it's laid out.
All right, so we got that. So that's actually the second question that Stabler's going to correct me on. The first question is, where are you from and how long you been here? I apologize, folks. It's been a couple weeks.
I'm from Richmond, Virginia.
Okay.
And I came to Lexington as a food service director for a company called Aramart.
I know
in
it, yeah.
2005.
Okay.
And in 2007, I became the food service director for the city jail.
Okay, so what did you do in Lexington as a food service director? I got a lot of friends that work at Airmark.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I worked in the correction side, so I worked as the food service director for the jail.
Right. So now Airmark is Wake Forest, right?
Aramart, that's the school side.
Right. So
They have a school side,
right?
they have a sports side,
Right.
they have a correctional side.
Okay. So you worked in the jail.
Yeah. I made
Interaction?
Sure I made sure I fed inmates and fed officers all day. 365
So any
days.
interaction with the inmates?
Yeah. We
Oh
had
my gosh.
inmates that worked in the kitchen.
Okay, right.
You had inmates that you had to go around and they had dietary concerns. You had inmates that you just interacted with every day.
All right.
So, and I was a deputy for 10 years before that. So I had with Pamunkey Regional Jail in Hanover County, Virginia.
Okay.
So I've had a lot of interaction with inmates for a very long time.
Okay.
And when I came here to Winston-Salem, I got promoted from Lexington to Winston-Salem. And I became the food service director for the city jail, which is here now. And I was there 3 years.
Now, if we're going to do it right, we've got to say it right.
Yeah.
You became the director for the TRAFO.
The director for the TRAFO.
That's right. I mean, we got to say
It
it
wasn't
right.
TRAFO then, but it's
wasn't
TRAFO
then,
now.
but it is TRAFO now.
Yeah.
I graduated. I got my MBA from Winston-Salem State in 14, and I still want to make a TRAFO State University just because It's, but what and it was at this facility?
Yeah.
So how long had it been open then? 5 to 10 years?
I guess so. I don't know.
Yeah. Beautiful facility.
It's a gorgeous
I
facility.
think I visited 2 people there. I had a lady that worked for me's daughter that got in, and she's like, "Could you just go see her? Because she just wants people to come see her." And so, and then I think I didn't go for a scared straight program, folks.
Yeah.
I went and visited them, but it seems to be a nice facility from what I've seen.
It is. We served about 1,100 to 1,300 meals a day, 365 days a year. We had a dining facility for the police department and the sheriff department and the officers that worked in the jail. It's all in that jail. It's all inside.
That's crazy.
We had $1.5 million budget. I used to eat at the Piedmont Club.
Right. I miss the Piedmont Club.
I do that. I miss the elevator ride.
The elevator ride, and not only that, but when they did that one membership, it was so funny. You knew that there were some cheap people in that building.
Yeah.
When they had to put the sign up and said, "You cannot fill the whole container with bacon."
Bacon.
People were taking all the bacon down.
Yeah.
Excuse me. All right, so we've asked where you're from and how long you've been here.
Yep.
We've asked where your favorite place to eat is.
Yeah.
What's your favorite thing to do around here?
Hike and mountain bike.
I want to talk to you about hiking because I'm just starting to get into that.
Yeah.
Do you know Hank Perkins, the town manager out in Louisville?
I know of him.
All right, he's a fraternity brother of mine.
Yeah.
And he's doing the walk across the Appalachian. He does it in
That's
periods.
my dream one day too.
Well, let's talk.
Yeah.
I'm never going to do it. I want to climb Mount Kilimanjaro before I'm 60. But I don't walk. I don't
You
do
need to get
anything
started.
yet. Yeah.
You got to get started.
Hey, I ran a marathon, so I mean,
Yeah.
I know you can train for it, but still. But where do you like to hike around here?
I like to go up to Pilot Mountain.
Okay.
On the backside and hike from the bike up.
All right.
Hanging Rock.
Okay.
Stone Mountain.
Stone Mountain. Grandfather occasionally.
Grandfather occasionally.
Chimney Rock maybe.
Chimney Side's a little steep. That's a little
long.
steep.
That's a long one out there. I take the elevator to that one.
Yeah. But I really like that. There's excellent mountain bike trails here. Tanglewood Park has an excellent mountain bike trail. Greensboro.
Right.
And I like to ride the Turkey Run.
Do you ever do a hobby park?
It's a little too aggressive for me.
Yeah.
At this age now, it's way too aggressive for me.
Now, I want to talk about family because one of so you and I have been trying to get together for probably about a month and a half, 2 months now.
Pretty much now.
Real estate's been crazy and photography has been even more crazy. Proud of your daughter. I love when I see someone is proud of their family. And your relationship with your wife is hilarious because I know you got the new camera and she gave you permission.
Yep.
Mine was, please don't judge me. I sold my 1969 Ford Bronco to buy my wife's engagement ring. The car's worth $50,000.
That's love.
Yeah. So I went back after my mom passed away about 5 years ago. I said, hey, Mom left me a little money. Can I go buy? So I bought a little Pontiac Solstice.
Yeah.
And she's like, go get it. But your wife, and how many kids you got? And tell us about your family a little bit.
All right. I'm married to Sanji Davis Daniels. We have 6 kids.
Holy cow.
And anywhere, and all of them in college or coming out of college and got their own kids, their own marriages. Right. But in a family situation, what I always advocate is you feed people who feed you.
Right.
When I came to Winston-Salem and I met my wife and I got married and all those things happened, she was the one who really pushed me to become the person I am now. I was just a guy on a hard drive. I had all these pictures on my hard drive, never printed anything, never did anything, just shot pictures, left them on the hard drive.
Right.
So, and she took low-leveraging jobs so that I wouldn't have to work.
She paid for your medical school in a sense.
Basically, yeah.
I mean, because you have a full-time job still now, or part-time job now?
I got a part-time job now.
A part-time job and then it allows you to have a little bit of food on the table, but then you do your passion and your wife does too.
Yeah, and she became a photographer.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, when her time came, I saw that she became serious, and I went out, I bought lights, I bought her background, she's a food photographer, she's a food blogger.
All right.
And so I made sure that she had everything she needs. And it's like driving a car. I don't be in a room with her when she shoots. I just don't.
But now she does use Elmer's glue for the milk on the cereal.
She does that.
Okay. I just want to make sure.
And she used shoe polish on the turkey.
Shoe polish on the turkey. That's right. And then what do they put in the Coca-Cola? There's something they put in Coca-Cola to make
Alka-Seltzer.
Alka-Seltzer to make the fizz, right?
Yep.
Yeah. It's crazy.
Yeah, but she does that, and she's doing extremely well with it. And it's called Fat Foodie Club.
Right.
And every Wednesday, she does these interviews, and she's interviewing people for top chefs from New York or LA, and she's shooting food, and she's doing that. And I back her up and give her technical support because, when I got started, she was there for me.
Right. Yeah. Asa Fleming was the president of the Realtors Association a year ago.
Okay.
And Asa's thing is, with when I was telling you about the realtor party and stuff like that,
Yeah.
you're either at the table or on the
table.
And so they always are asking for us to invest in that.
Yeah.
The purple party in a sense. But one of the funniest things that he said is when he tells stories about his mom, and he says, Mom served something like Brussels sprouts, and I said, Mom, I don't want this. Mm-hmm. And she said, what'd you contribute to this meal?
Yeah.
And it sounds like that,
you got to use that, yeah.
When you said you feed the people that feed you,
feed the people
she
that
said
feed you.
when you contribute to what's on the table, you can make the decision as to what we're eating.
Yeah.
And it always stuck with him. And that brings me to something with your dad.
Yeah.
Your dad said something that just pulled you aside one day and said, how to interpret what you do.
Yeah. My father got me started with the adage of, he said to me, everybody's got a story to tell.
Right.
He said, son, tell what you see.
Okay.
And that has guided my work all of my life because it keeps you with your integrity. Mm-hmm. Tell what you see. Don't tell what you think you see or tell what other people see. Tell what you see. Tell their story. And that has made me very humble, but it's made me very successful at the same time.
It's I'm very fortunate. My dad's 96, and he works with me.
Wow.
So what happens is and he asked me the other day if he could go get his real estate license to help me out to show people. I'm like, Dad, no. But what my dad does is I mail out you know, this month's was on phone scams and to watch out for phone scams.
Yeah.
It comes with a letter. We fold it up and all that kind of stuff, and we send that out. And so he comes in, he stamps 300 and some odd envelopes.
Wow.
With a stamp.
Yeah.
He labels them. He folds everything up, stuffs them everything, puts a stamp on them, and then takes them to the post office. And you know what? What's today? Today's the 2nd.
Yeah.
Of course, we'll air this next week. But he'll he comes and basically goes on the 5th. He goes, "Well, are we ready for next week yet?
Yeah.
For next month yet? Are we ready for next month?" So he bugs me for the whole month. But just so blessed to have him in my life and still getting pearls of wisdom from him.
You know, that's a great thing about having good parents. I grew up in a 2-parent household. Mother and father worked, and you know, they're the ones who got me started. You know, I'm blessed to be in museums and have private commission work
What's
in
that
galleries.
like?
I'm gonna tell you what it's like. I'm gonna tell you exactly what it's like. I'm interviewed and I'm doing all these things, and it's all great. You know, I get these commission checks and all that stuff is great.
Right.
But I'm gonna tell you what it's like. And I was a kid, like all kids, you know, I get in trouble. My parents make you go to your room.
Right.
And they take all your stuff out your room.
They remove the plug that puts your PlayStation to the TV, and you can't find one.
Yeah, well,
That's right, Stabler, right?
You know, well, I had a Mattel Hot Wheels set. You know,
Okay.
they took all that stuff out.
Took all the cars.
So I started doodling. You know, I started doodling as a kid. And one day, my mother was in the kitchen, and I brought her my
remember
doodle.
this. Yep.
And I showed it to my mom, and my mom was like, you know, she made a big deal out of it.
Right.
She said, "Oh, that's great. You know, you're a great little artist," and da 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 da. And I'm standing there, you know, I'm like, "Oh, this is great." And she took it and she pinned it on the refrigerator. And when my father came home, she said, "Henry, you know, look what our little artist has done." Now, my father comes from that age. Good is good, bad is bad. There is no middle. There is no show up trophy.
Right. He isn't going to
He's not going to. You know, if you have did something, you're not getting nothing for that. And you know, he used to tell me. He said that never expect a parade for doing your job. He said there is no clowns, there's no balloons, there's no band.
Doing your job is the minimum standard.
He said that's what's expected of you. So when he told you something was good, he meant it.
Awesome.
And he patted me on the head and he said, you know, "Boy, that looks good. Good job." And then he went on about his business. So every award I've ever gotten, every stage I've ever stood on, every gallery I ever opened, every museum I've ever been in, is just me trying to replicate that moment that I'm in the kitchen with my mother and father.
And that close, right?
It's never, it's like
that close.
Yeah,
but you can't get it.
It can't. You know, I'm just Elizabeth and Henry Griffin's little boy. I'm standing there, somebody's calling my name, and all I think about is looking up on the refrigerator.
Yeah, that's awesome. What a great story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's what it's like for me. It's not what people think it is. It's not me, you know, glorying in it. It's like, man.
Well, this is the first time I met you, and of course, you know, I didn't know what to expect. Extremely down to earth.
Yeah.
Telling, you know, everybody knows Stabler because I've talked about him before.
Yeah.
You're asking him questions about what he's doing, and you know, I mean, it was funny because normally we shoot with a fan type thing around it. And I'm like, oh, we got the photographer day. You didn't bring the work to try and impress anybody.
Nah.
We didn't need it today. Nah. But I mean, you know, so but very down to earth and just an awesome fella. And I'm enjoying this. And I want to get into a couple things.
Okay.
About your work and where you are and stuff like that. I want to talk about the sawtooth and how you give back and different things like that. So let's start with this one because we're getting close to taking a break because I want to show some people some things.
Yeah.
So we're at Cranky's downtown.
Yeah.
And it's, am I understanding tomorrow, so the weekend of Labor Day, your work's going to go up?
Yeah.
And how many pieces are going up?
It'd be about, according to the display size, it'd be maybe about 8 pieces.
So there are 8 pieces, and what we can do is, Stabler, can we do like a slideshow of those 8 pieces? And so you'll help us identify them on the website, and then we'll put them in as we take a break. And then, so you're going to put those up, so then now they open up on Friday, so I can come in Friday and see them.
Yeah.
And then what I want to do is take that break, and then when we come back, I want you to tell me what your favorite piece is.
No problem.
All right, so we're going to take a break. We're going to be right back after you see what Owens is actually going to be displaying at Cranky's here starting Labor Day weekend. All right, we're back now, and so we've looked at these, and there's several pieces, and Stabler's going to put those up. You know, they've just seen all of them. So I have my first question is which one is your favorite, and then if you'd like a general public me, I'd tell you which one my favorite is.
Okay.
But your opinion's much better than mine. So
My favorite is American Girl,
okay,
which is in a collection of work in the Levine Museum in Charlotte right now.
one of my friend's daughters actually worked for their promotional side of things for the Levine Museum for a while. It was a part-time job while she was finishing up her college. Beautiful museum.
Gorgeous place.
Yeah. My favorite is going to be Mr. and Mrs. Smith.
Yep.
So basically, this is an HB2 interpretation is
Yeah.
what you did here. So if you don't remember House Bill 2, it was the bathroom bill that, we lost the NBA,
Charlotte.
the NBA Finals or something.
A lot of business.
We lost a lot of business stuff over that.
Got it back though.
Yep.
Got it back.
But that would probably be my favorite because it truly represents, I think, everybody.
Yep, that was the point.
And then the one that I kept looking at, and the whole time we were looking at him said, whoa, is the Billy Bob.
Mm-hmm.
And so Billy Bob is one that I want to know how you got to that painting, because I want you to tell people how you got to that painting. So I'm sorry, but if you ask me how I feel about it, I'm probably going to give you a truthful opinion, but you know, you're also going to tamper it down. And so from you to go to a Confederate flag behind a toilet, somebody was very honest.
Yeah.
All right. So and that's awesome.
Yeah.
So tell me about that one.
Well, like I said, me and my family one day, we bought a toilet.
All right.
We put the toilet on wheels, and we dragged the toilet on a Sunday afternoon around Winston-Salem.
All right.
And my son was carrying the lights, and my daughter was carrying my bag, and I'm pushing the toilet. And one of the first places we shot was right here at Cranky's.
Right.
And we got in the middle of the street, and as people crossed the street, I would stop them and ask them, hey, would you mind talking to me about HB2? And what I wanted to do, I wanted to see how hilarious it would be to people.
Right.
To be sitting in the middle of the street with toilet paper hanging off the toilet. And some people, they were...
There's no way I'm going to talk to you?
There's no way. But then when they sat down, they saw how ridiculous it was even having this conversation.
Right.
People were not conservative about it or liberal about it. They just, all of a sudden, they felt like it became real to them that I'm having this conversation.
Right.
But a lot of times when you had like the rebel flag, I met some people who were very adamant about the ideal that we're all not toothless wonders here, or we all not backwards knuckle draggers, if you want to use that conversation. And there was these two trans girls, and they had on a rebel flag.
Right.
One had her tattooed on her arm. And I said, what do you? She says, well, I just wanted to go in the bathroom, and in my bathroom, I got my flag. And I thought, you know what? Nobody really represents that side. Why not?
Yeah. I was actually with Jeff McIntosh. He was at a commercial realty thing.
Yeah.
It's called Property Management Division, and then there's also the Realtor Commercial Alliance. So it's RCA has this little get-together. And he was standing next to me, goes, oh, there it went. I go, what are you talking about? He goes, they're taking the monument down right now.
Yeah, I shot the monument.
And what's amazing to me is when I talk with Dudley Watts about this, we are so fortunate where we live.
Yeah.
There hasn't been what they did in Raleigh.
Nope.
We had a monument come down. Look what happened in Chapel Hill.
Yeah.
And our citizens seem to understand there's a right way to do things.
Yeah. If you notice here in Winston-Salem, you have not even one broken window. From COVID to the protest to the monument.
Even with the bananas.
Nothing.
If that had been Raleigh, that place would have been torched.
Yeah, that place be on fire right now.
So I want to, that transitions me to the next thing. what day are we in protest now? 49 or 50?
49.
You've shot almost every day, haven't you?
Yes.
And what are you seeing? Because obviously I look out and, you know, and I want to tell everybody, there's a UPS truck getting ready to drive by, there's a sheriff's van over there. We're going to hear this noise, but this is a city you and I love. So we wanted to hear this noise. They're working on Bailey Park right now. Finish up so we can go in there and get a drink sometime on some of the other restaurants and things they're adding. But what, you know, I see this, you know, we've got a railroad, the train came by earlier before we shot. I mean, I could see you black and white in this wood and all this kind of stuff, and suddenly it's in the Smithsonian. So what have you seen through the protesting, and what's been your favorite takeaway from your shots?
The thing that I saw, as with almost media, is that as a general public, as we see things driving by in our car, walking around, as we ingest social media, whether it's Facebook or a newspaper, what you see is a demonstrator. What you see is a protester. What you see is a rioter. You know, those are the three buckets that people see the movement being portrayed one way or the other. And what I wanted to do, I wanted to portray the protesters as human beings.
You want to see the eyes?
Yeah, I wanted you to be able to look at my work and see your brother, see your sister, see your neighbor. And so I made the work very intimate, very personal, very, very in your face kind of thing, so that you had to look beyond the ideal that this was ideology. You had to look beyond the ideal that this was some kind of conflict. You had to look at the person. It's like looking at your brother, your sister, your mother, your father. And then you have to wonder to yourself, you know, how can we have a conversation and why are we not having a conversation? And visual art gives me that ability to do that.
So I want to touch on the Winston-Salem piece that you did and that, but I want to get something out of the way.
Yeah.
I'm sorry I guide you down past, but I know several things about you. One is you like some organization, so that's why I tell you these things. 2, don't ever be late.
Nope.
3, make sure that you bring him a big glass of milk because he loves milk. That's not true, I know.
Nope.
And then, so a little organization, and that's why I'm kind of doing that, is leading you down these. So it's this.
Yeah.
I just have to say like 3 words, and then you're going to take over. You're an activist.
No.
I know I set you up for that.
No, I'm not. I'm a humanist.
Explain that to me, because we had a real nice conversation when you first got here about that.
You know, it's like those buckets I talked to you about. You know, people have expectations, and people would describe you by what they see.
Right.
And then it has to fit the narrative of what they believe. If they see a photographer taking pictures of a protest march, and he looks like one of the protesters, and he's a protester. And if
your news.
Or your news.
Yeah, you're not. Yeah, and then it's like, oh, hey, what are you trying to do?
But when you start posting it and it has a human aspect to it, people take it as you're sympathetic.
Right.
That makes you the activist, because they don't describe you as being the police. They don't describe you on the other side of the table. Being a humanist is just simply that, to me, right is right and wrong is wrong. You know, my mother and father taught me, and those lessons have carried me all over the world. You know, don't take justice and put it in the hands of the unjust. You know, the Bible is very clear. No, not one. We all fall short.
Right.
So I don't take it as an absolute that the protesters are absolutely right, and I don't take it as an absolute that the police or whatever the other situation is right. I take it as my job is to find what I think the viewer needs to think is right. Shoot what you see, and then present that to the viewer and let them decide for themselves if it's right or wrong.
Right. My thing through all this has been, we're all so much alike.
Yeah.
And here's how we're alike. I want a home, shelter over my family. I want to feed my family.
Yeah.
And I want to do everything I can that day not to piss my spouse off. Isn't that your goal?
My first goal is not to piss my wife off.
Yeah, I mean, we all have the same goal.
If I can
Don't
get that
piss your spouse off.
The rest will fall in place.
It's going to happen.
It's going to fall in place.
I'm safe because she doesn't usually watch my videos. So,
yeah.
But I mean, that is truly what, I mean, we all have the same goal in life.
You'll find that's what the human part comes in. A lot of times when we're looking at these situations and we take the human being out of that situation and leave an activist, or you leave protesters, when you leave them in that bucket, you're not saying to that person, I want the same thing as you. Everybody wants law and order. People love stability. Everybody wants clean air. Everybody wants water. It's how you get there. It's just how you get to that. But we all got to get there, and we're not all going to get there the same way.
Yeah, it's and you know, as you're taking those pictures of getting there,
Yeah.
do you feel that the medium of black and white versus color, does that help you get the people there a different way? Is black and white the intimacy?
Black and white, what black and white does for you, it makes you more focused because you're not focused on color.
Right.
You know, if your propensity is toward red or blue or green or whatever that is, color has a way of making you look at something differently.
Right.
You're looking at the color.
Right.
You're not really looking at the content. It can be a part of the composition, but mainly you're looking at the color. Black and white strips everything down to there's nothing there but subject matter.
Right.
So that's how you can play that. But sometimes using color to your advantage allows you to redirect and focus the viewer in the direction you want them to go.
We had a lady that used to work at the Realtors Association, and her screensaver was a red chair
Yeah.
that she had pulled the color back out of using the filters on a black and white beach.
Yeah.
Every time you went in the office, it's the first thing you looked at.
Look at that,
It's
yeah.
beautiful. And that's, for her, that was her memory.
Yeah.
That was her scene. That was
Yeah.
her life at that moment. So, you know, you say you're not an activist,
No.
you're a humanist. But you also have gone now and, you know, you've shot for 59 days. You're doing, what is it called of Winston-Salem? The Faces of Winston-Salem, The Lives of Winston, what is it?
Faces. There was two programs that was here. I started a program called Faces of Winston-Salem.
Okay.
And that was based on the idea that I was downtown one day and the mask had just became a real big issue.
Right.
And a lot of times we get caught up in what's going on around us and it becomes monolithic.
Right.
We think it's all one big thing.
Right.
But in reality, it's not. You know, what started happening to Winston-Salem started I started shooting in April.
Right.
And it started with COVID-19.
Right.
And it started with safe distance.
Right.
And that safe distance became a big issue in Winston. And so what I decided to do was I took a mannequin and like the toilet, I would just take the mannequin around the streets and I would put the mannequin in a group of people. Like I started at the bus station and I seen people getting on the bus. So I dressed the mannequin up, put him in the bus line.
Okay.
And then I photographed people as they either got close to the mannequin.
Excuse me, or got around.
Yeah, got it, you know, because I wanted to see how people reacted to that.
Right.
And so that was one thing. And then we went from safe distancing, the mask became prevalent.
Right.
It became from a suggestion to mandatory.
Right.
And so people started to add value and morality to the mask. You're a good person if you wear it. You're a bad person if you don't wear it. You know, look at this person, they're not wearing it. You know, this person is overreacting. So that became a big thing.
This is who the Republicans are this way, the Democrats are this way.
And people would, you know, judge you on
communist
that.
if you follow along.
You know, people started, you know, don't shop at this store because I went in there and the clerk didn't have a mask, that type of thing.
Or
so that
made me put one on, yeah.
That mask became more of a 6 degree of separation with us. So I started shooting that part of it. And then we went into the shutdown, which is another part of it. And that shutdown, closing down businesses, schools, entertainment, all of that started to happen. So I'm out in the street with this mannequin running around 3 o'clock in the morning, and I will break him up, tear his arms and legs off, and throw him in the middle of the street and shoot off the top of a building. And then, you know, that was how I did it. But then the protest hit basically at the same time. And when that protest hit, all of a sudden the mask didn't matter anymore, COVID didn't matter anymore. And for about a couple of months, everybody was just into their own morality, into their own sense of justice.
Yeah, we're almost at 60 days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now here comes, COVID comes back in. Phase 2 is out. You know, we're still in phase 1, that type of thing.
2.5 tomorrow.
2.5
Whatever
tomorrow.
that means. Yeah.
2 and 7.25. I don't know.
Yeah.
So I've documented those actions in blocks.
Now, are they on your website as well?
They'll be there soon.
Okay. Well, I want to show your website right now, so we'll take a break. Okay, so let's take a quick break. Stabler, pull up the website, and we'll show that and come back. Hey everybody, welcome back. Of course, our guest is Owens Daniels. Owens, a wonderful photographer. We're talking about all the different things that we've they shot and interpreted around, and so now I'm getting to the hard questions. I mean, these hot as the seat, turn the seat up.
There you go.
What's your favorite thing to shoot?
People. It's been
I knew that was what the answer was going to be.
It's been my favorite thing ever since I knew what a camera was.
Yeah.
The great thing about people is, regardless of mankind's behavior upon the earth, and people can get into that, or climate change, or whatever you want to do, the earth would be a very uninteresting place without people. You can get trees, you can get flowers, you can get rivers, you can get mountains, but you can't get people, because people are the only thing that's an individual unto itself. It has its own DNA. There is not another DNA of that person.
Okay.
So, and the other thing is, people are like surprises. You never know what you're going to get. You always have to go, isn't that interesting?
Right.
Or I never would have thought. And everybody has a story, and I'm always interested in that person's story. I tell people I never trust on my side of the camera what you give me. I only trust what's inside of the camera.
Right. Yeah. You have a favorite person you shot?
I don't have a particular favorite person that I shot, but I got a favorite person that I've met and was interviewed by.
Right.
And there's, in Wake Forest, they have a
That's
radio
so nice
camp.
of you to say that about me. Oh, I feel awkward now.
Nah.
It wasn't me?
No,
Dang.
just met you.
Oh, man.
They have the radio camp.
Right.
And I was fortunate enough to be, I think they took 12, 18 people that day.
Right.
Somebody from, a different industry. And I unfortunately forgot this young lady's name. It was a little young black girl.
Right.
And she picked me. And I'll never forget that interview. I have her picture on my wall. And she started out, she had read all about me. She knew all about my work. And she started out, she says, well, Owens. Now, she's about 12, 13 years old. I'm in my 60s.
Knocked you off your feet.
And knocked me off my feet. And she was so energetic, and she was so curious about me, and so emotional about the idea that I could sit down with her. And she says, tell me your life story, Owens.
And it's not only that, but when you came back as an adult to an adult, you made her day.
Yeah.
I mean, you weren't you were saying, so what do you do with the camera? And it's like, all right, Owens, based on this, yeah. That's awesome.
She's the most interesting person. And I've been blessed and fortunate. I've shot, all over the world. And
Celebrities?
I've done a couple of celebrities in my time. I did
share?
Well, I'm not that guy. I'm not that guy that needs to have his picture. Like, I don't do the autograph thing. Right. I don't do, let me take your picture beside me. I don't do the selfie thing.
Right.
I think that person needs their privacy.
Oh, and, so we can't take a picture with him after this is what you're saying. We can't get an autograph.
I'll give you an example. I shoot John Coltrane Fest every year.
Okay.
And I'm looking if I get backstage patches. So I meet a lot of heroes that I grew up with their music.
Yep.
And so mostly it's musicians that I've met that are celebrity people.
Right.
And what's her name? Howard. She died here about a couple of months ago.
Wonderful singer.
Yeah, jazz singer. And I can't think of her name.
Yeah.
But I did a bunch of pictures, and I sent the pictures to her family when she died, and made this collage thing for them and that type of thing. But she was one of the, I got lucky. I knew she was sick.
Right.
I knew that. And she was singing on stage, and I watched her, and she got a little weak, and she went to sit down, and there was a piano a little bit on the behind stage.
Right.
So I got around to the side, and I just happened to be coming up the stairs as she was sitting down. And she perfectly posed, light was perfect, the camera guards were this, we're gonna throw you a bone here.
Yep.
And I took that picture, and it's one of the best pictures I ever took, because she didn't know and I didn't know. I had one shot at it, so it all worked out.
Photography is just amazing, and like you say, you just don't know if you're going to be in the right place at the right time. And I love your love of music too. I love Freddie Cole.
Yeah.
Nat King Cole's my favorite singer. Yeah. And I've seen Freddie 3-4 times now. Whenever he gets close, I go see him. Last time I saw him was in down in Concord.
Yeah.
And his son was with him. And basically he's helping him get up and stuff. I don't know if we'll have Freddie much longer.
No.
I mean, but love his music. And so I actually had some pictures, and I met him, and I got them signed. And then Marceau was here.
Yeah.
And I got some stuff with him. So I like some of those little things. But the photography side of thing, this is the job I want. Melissa Melvin Rodriguez is someone that used to be a manager, assistant manager at KNS News with us.
Wow.
She is the official photographer for the Carolina Panthers.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like, it's like, holy cow, you know? And so, I mean, she just lucked into that job. She interned, and all of a sudden they hired her.
Yeah.
And the funny story with her is that she's taking the perfect shot. She stands up on one of these chairs like this, and the chair falls down. And so she's trying to get a shot of Luke being interviewed. Next thing you know, he's telling the reporters to get back. He's holding her hand, and she's torn her ACL. She's like, I'm just trying to get a good picture. And by the end of the night, Luke's holding my hand as they're taking me to the thing to take care. So, but just a great, you just never know. We have so many wonderful people in this town.
The greatest thing about photography, especially because I deal with people, is your camera will bring you in the presence of people who are interesting. You asked me about working part-time. One of the reasons that I work is because I'm not interested in taking pictures of people that I'm not interested in or people that I find boring. So I make
making it a job.
Oh, making it work. So what I do is I make money on the side so that I can say, yes, I want to photograph you. Because you have to be, in order for me to photograph you, I have to agree. So it's not a thing of, would you take my picture? If you have to come to me, and then that's how it kind of works with me. Because there's something about you that the world needs to know. And it's my job to put it out there so the world can know it.
Well, it's interesting you say that because it is true. I mean, I've always said, when it comes to a job, my job affords me the ability to do what I want to do. And so your job affords you the ability to do what you want to do. You get paid to do your side job, which is taking pictures. I mean, it's not really a side job, it's a love. Let's see, what else do we need to talk about? Oh, I know. We talked about this a second ago. What the heck are you going to do now? I mean, we've talked about it. As it turns out, they've called basically for an end for a little while, unless something else happens. What are you going to do? I mean, like I said, are you going to have what do we say? We're going to be, bringing what downtown that I've got to play with now.
I'm one of those people that my mind is always 6 steps ahead of itself.
Right.
So as I'm working on something, my mind is already shooting out there, where we're going from here. Everyday New Normal is the name of the project that I've created now. And what that means is, if you notice, every day you wake up, there's a new normal. It's not the normal, it's just a new normal. And so what I decided to do was take protective gear, particularly the mask, and bring people into the studio and photograph them doing everyday things. And I started out, the first thing I did was I had some ladies come in, some female models that came in, and we hung up a clothesline. I hadn't seen a clothes since I was a kid. He had a baby, had all that, breastfeeding, had all that stuff going on, but they had the mask on.
Right.
And literally that, how do I hold the baby and put the stuff on the clothesline?
Right.
I brought some guys in, just shaving, just sitting around, shaving.
Right.
And I'm gonna do that for a little while because the best thing about a photograph is not what's in the photograph. If you can get good, what's not there. That's the best thing about what I try to do. I try to don't bring attention to the thing that's there, have the curiosity about the thing that's not there. And so the ability for me to create Everyday New Normal gives me that, because I'm taking a situation where I got a guy putting his socks on, and then, but the mask is there. And so that's what I'm working on now.
Construction workers with the masks down here, drinking water,
I got masks hanging.
Stuff like that.
I
like to hang mine from the ear when I'm driving in the car so I remember where it is.
Well, that's the thing about it. Again, like I told you about these phases, people think that the mask is worn, but it's really not. People hang it off their ear. People have it under their chin. People have it on their face. People have it on their mouth. People wear that mask different kind of ways. But it also says something about who they are. And if you put them in an everyday situation, like the guy shaving, You know, one guy, I said, well, how are you going to shave? And he thought about it, and he put the mask over his eyes. And then he started shaving, you know, or, you know, I'm going to breastfeed with this mask. So she put the mask over the baby so that you couldn't see the baby breastfeeding. So I just want to introduce something that's become intrusive in our life as an everyday new normal to us. So that's what I'm working on now. I'll send you a picture of it.
All right, definitely, please. I've got a couple questions. I don't know how much time we got left in this. How are we doing, Stabler? We got 10 minutes. Okay.
Yeah.
So let's. All right. So let's.
And I'll tell you a story.
All right. Then I'll let you tell me the story. Then I got the hard hitting questions. So
Yeah.
we'll either end it after 45 or go a little bit longer.
Yeah.
So what's your story?
I was telling you a story about the sheriff's office.
Right.
Okay. So, and this is one of those stories that I leave it up to the viewer to decide.
Right.
What's the implication of
Right.
it. So, the first day of the arrest, a lot of people don't know that when the protest hit Winston-Salem, not a window was broken.
Right.
Greensboro was on fire.
Walking out in the street.
All that stuff was happening everywhere. But Winston was very peaceful. It was one of the only peaceful cities in North Carolina.
They've had one time where they've gone out down near the baseball field and disrupted Salem Parkway, but
that was it. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Yeah, no, it's been great
So
in the sense of
we're
supporting
in
the
front of
community.
the sheriff department, and the protesters are there. You know, they say their speech, they make their demands. They decided to march, but the city had already put an ordinance that if you come in the street, you're going to get arrested.
Right.
Because there'll be no more disruption of traffic.
Right.
So the protesters decided they're going to go in the streets. So as
The streets that were blocked off by sheriff's deputies because I drove around them that night. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, that same situation.
Right.
So now some other reporters and myself, you know, you want to stay in front of this type of thing because you get behind, you got nothing. So I'm in front of it and I'm running up and down the street trying to stay in front of the protesters. And as they came down the street, the sheriff department was really good about it. You know, they just like, get on it. They guided them back onto the sidewalk. Well, I had crossed the street, but my battery ran out of my camera. And when my battery ran out of my camera, without thinking, now I'm in the middle of the street. Now the streets are blocked off. There is no traffic.
Right.
I got my camera bag, I got my press pass on and all of that, and I got this big camera. So I stopped in the middle of the street, not thinking, and I kneeled down to change the battery in my camera.
Uh-oh.
So now I'm not thinking about anything. Out of nowhere comes a police officer.
What are you doing?
And no, he didn't even do that. He said, get out of the street. And I'm kneeling down and I'm looking up at him.
It's like, I'm just changing my battery.
And
Yeah.
I was a deputy, so I knew this is not a conversation type situation. And he said, get out of the street. And I didn't move because I didn't want to show no aggression. So you don't move right away.
Right.
And I kept my hands clear, and he said, get out of the street now. Now I got a camera laying on the ground, I got the battery. But what was the juxtaposition was, here this guy was going from control to manipulation back to control, because I was taught to do the same thing.
Right.
So I knew what my situation was, but the jail was in back of him. You know, here I am on the ground. Here he is towering over me. They're marching around about police brutality or policy, whatever it is. And I'm thinking to myself, I could lose my freedom or I could lose my life by changing a battery in my camera. You know, I just did something anybody, like if you dropped your keys on the ground or if your wallet fell out, you know, your instinct is to pick it up.
And 9 times out of 10, it's exactly what I would have said is, I'm just changing my battery. You're being smart, and then it starts down that path.
Then it goes down that path.
And because of your training, you were able to diffuse it.
I just, I gathered my stuff up and moved over to the sidewalk.
And then sat on the curb and did it there.
And then sat on the curb, and he walked off. What was interesting was there was another photographer in the street. 2 of us were in the street at the same time.
Did he get it?
No, he went down and got his picture taken. So, and around the corner was the protesters getting locked up, and that all happened. I tell the story because of the juxtaposition of everything.
Right.
So, but I leave it to people to decide, you know, however it played. But that's the one time that I felt like, you know what, I could lose my freedom because of the jail, juxtaposition. I could go in the very same place where I used to work.
Right.
Or if I make the wrong move with this guy, I could lose my life over changing a battery in my camera.
And I and I know the police get a lot of heat, and
Yeah.
protesters get a lot of heat. And when protesters get heat, it's when they're rioters in a sense of
Yeah.
things. But I know they both get a lot of heat. But you know what? I bet you neither one of them woke up that day wanting to do either of the
No.
things.
No, nobody
I
gets
just
no.
wanted to let it be known that I don't approve of what's happening, and I wanted to make sure that you abided by the laws.
Well, I can tell you this. No, I was in the United States Army for 20 years. I retired.
Thank you for your service.
No soldier goes into that situation praying to God that I could go into a country and destroy it.
Right.
No.
Or that they want to get shot.
Oh, they want to get shot.
Right. Yeah.
I've never been in a situation, being 61 years, being black, being an American, all the rest of it. I've never been in a situation where I've encountered someone, and I'm sure people can dispute that or whatever it is, but this is my experience. You know, you got bad people.
Mm-hmm.
Bad people do bad stuff. That's what they do. You're not going to get around that. Black, white, candy stripe, you're not going to get around
I love
that.
black, white,
when
candy
this guy when this policeman walked up on me, one, I know he's irritated.
Right.
Two, he didn't get out the bed to meet me.
No.
He just wanted to assert his authority then and there.
All he wanted to do was keep it peaceful so that everybody,
And because it goes back to being a humanist, because I look like because he saw me with the protester, he automatically assumed that you're one of them.
Even with the press pass,
bag, all that.
You're supporting it though.
You're supporting it.
Yeah.
So I knew, don't do anything. You're already down, so you're not a threat to him. Two, don't move. He's gonna say to you now, I already knew that was coming.
Right.
You know, you gather your stuff, you don't say anything, and you move. Because once I got on the sidewalk, it was over.
Well, we were talking about the way things were in the past and changing and stuff, and you said the new normal. Do you remember when you used to go to Smith Reynolds Airport? Did you do that?
Yeah.
And you'd put your 25 cents in or whatever?
Yeah.
And watch the little black and white TV? Or when you went to Greensboro, and you'd walk down and you'd wait for him to come right off the plane and be there waiting for
you. Yeah.
It's never going to be that again.
No. I remember the phone booth. Remember you had to walk up to the phone booth and the accordion door and you stick your quarter in there.
Interesting you mentioned that. I'm moving mine from, I just sold my old house and moving my new one. I'm taking my phone booth with me.
What?
I have a phone booth if you want to borrow sometime. It's this one.
Oh, the swing door?
No, it's the circle that goes in behind it.
Yeah.
Let me know. We'll work it out.
Yeah.
But so, with that of the times have changed, I just want to go back to get to a point where we go back to the three things talked about earlier. You wake up, you don't want to piss your spouse off, you want to put food on the table, and you want to take care of your family.
Yeah.
If we can all accept each other that's what everyone's goals are, but is it ever going to get that way? I don't know. It's not.
No.
And with all the stuff going on and the election coming up and stuff like that, it's going to get worse. And if one wins, it's going to get worse. And if the other one wins, what's going to happen is it's going to be okay for a little while, and then it's going to get worse again.
And I'm going to tell you why I say no. I was photographing, running with the pros. I was embedded with BLM in D.C. I wasn't just there. I was embedded with them, moving with them, shooting with them, doing all that. Stopped me one time, and the girl was protest. She was crying, and she said, "Oh, I just want us all to get along, da 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 da." And I told her, I said, "It's not going to happen because there's 10 things." I said, "Man only has 10 things. 10. They call it 10 commandments.
Right.
If you follow those 10 things, there wouldn't even be war. You wouldn't have a need for the police department, nothing."
Right.
So, but because we cannot love our neighbor like we love ourselves, and this is about bad people. Bad people don't love themselves, so you can forget them loving you. That's how I know it's not. But what we can do is be respectful and civil of one another and supportive of our country.
Well, see, I learned something when I was at Winston-Salem State.
Yeah.
The first day I was there, I learned
Oh, that
something.
had to be interesting.
Well,
that had to be real interesting.
I got a story for that if you want to hear it. I went into the bookstore, and I'm like, I'm one of those people, if I'm going to school there, I'm wearing colors.
That's right.
It's a tray phob. And so I'm sitting there, and it says, "Oh, they came in, girlfriend, come here, they came in." And I'm looking down, and it's a C-shirt, and I didn't see anything special about it. It said my HBCU or whatever, and I'm going to go back. And so one girl's in line in front of me, the other girl gets it, and of course comes behind me.
Yeah.
Which, why wouldn't you go in front of me? You were with her, it's okay. But I look at her, and I said, "Look," I said, I will let you get back up with your friend, since obviously you think you need to come behind me, if you tell me, what's the HBCU? And she said,
Oh man.
she goes, that's my historically black college and university. And I go, I'm gonna wait a week or two before I buy that shirt and wear it around town, because you know, I'm whatever.
Yeah.
But, that first week, we're in a class and we're talking about something, and I learned something I never knew, and that is, you want to be a black man in the sense of how I see you.
Yeah.
I'm taught to be colorblind. Oh, I don't see him as black, I don't see him as white or whatever. And that kid in my class, great guy, says, I want you to know, because I want you to know that I have to talk to my kids and tell them that when they get pulled over by a police officer, to keep their hands visible at all times.
Yeah.
You're not telling that to your kids, because they're not going to get shot because they reached for something the wrong way. He said, I want you to know what I go through in my life to be where I am, and my history and everything like that. And I learned something that day, and since then I've tried to do my best. But my goal is just like your goal is. I want to meet cool, interesting people every day and see how I can help them out and push the whole world on in a better way.
Yeah.
We're going to take a break. We're going to show your website one more time and a couple more pictures. And then when we come back, you have to answer the hardest question of the day.
I got you.
All right? We'll be right back. All right, so I promise you, this is the hardest question of them all.
I've been waiting all day.
You know where we've been.
Yep.
Where do you want to see the city that we love? What are your dreams for Winston-Salem? It can be any subject. It can be about the protest. It can be about photography, whatever. I mean, I know that you would take it if we converted like the whole Bailey Park into the Owens Daniels, museum and stuff like that. You'd be okay with that as long as I paid.
I'll sleep at night if
you'll
they
sleep
did
all
that.
night.
Yeah.
But no, where do you see us going? What do you want?
I can tell you.
In that, what's going to happen with all this stuff going on with COVID, and what are we going to be able? Am I going to be able to give you a hug one day? You know, when I shake your hand. You think that's ever going to happen?
Yeah, that's going to happen.
Is the handshake gone forever?
No. We're in the South.
All you, buddy. I'm sitting back and listening.
I've always answered it this way. Winston-Salem is the city of innovation and arts.
Right.
I hold Winston-Salem's feet to the fire for that to be that, not just in name.
They've got it over there on the innovation side. I think we're doing okay.
They've got it.
We've got to get in the arts.
And well, they go together. You know, art is innovative. It finds a problem and it answers that with a solution, a different way.
Right.
When I did Faces of Winston-Salem, the reason that I did it was because when I walked around the city, you could see the city dying. It was like a city dying by itself.
Right.
And so I wanted the city to know that I haven't forgot as a citizen who I am, and then I have not forgotten who the city is to me. So I took my camera and I would just walk up to people, and I had blank pieces of paper and I let them write anything they wanted, but they had to start out with Dear Winston-Salem. And that's what I want. I want the city to get teeth behind supporting the local business, supporting its local artists, and how those two commercial enterprises come together to make it a true city, shining on a hill.
Mary talked about that, and that she's starting to commission art pieces, and that's what we'll close with is, if I want to commission you to do a piece of art for me, all right, let's say I want to do something with my daughter's, I'll show you a picture of her when this is over with, and you're going to tell me that she's one of your new models. So, I mean, I don't know how I got this lucky. Her mom's beautiful, and I'm not involved.
That's how you get lucky.
But so blowing bubbles or something like that, and hope or something like that. So I call you on the phone. And then say, hey, I'm wanting to do this. I want to commission a piece of art. And do you have places that have said, hey, if someone buys a print for you, we'll put it up, or things like that, or what?
No, I'm like everybody else. You know, I'll come up with an idea and I'll sit down with a person and find something that works with their personality, find something they're comfortable with, find something that fits the vision that I'm working on.
Right.
The other side of it is, once that's done, then you reach out to galleries, then you reach out to museums and private collectors and that type of thing, and you go through an art call, just like anybody else. You know, the work has to fit whatever the venue's vision is, whatever that theme is.
Right.
And that's how it really, it's not a luck of the draw type of things. You know, there's an old saying in my business, you never know why the judge kisses the cow.
Right.
You know, sometimes
Kisses the cow?
Kisses the cow.
Okay.
You ever been in a museum and like, what the hell is that? You know.
Oh, I don't even have to go in a museum to do that.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm of the age group of, I was working in Washington, D.C. when Mapplethorpe did the Piss Christ.
Yeah.
What the hell,
is-
dude?
Yeah.
I mean, you can do a lot of
That's the
things,
thing.
but you can't take somebody's
That's the
religion
thing.
down the path. That's,
And
you know.
the reason that is because somebody curated, which means that's somebody's opinion
Right.
and somebody's thought. You know, when I started, particularly as a black artist, one of the things that I ran into a lot was, this is not art. And I always questioned, I said, why? Why isn't this art?
Right.
Well, you know, it's not this and this and that. And I said, so I always would challenge people. I said, if I took this Rembrandt and stuck it next to the garbage can on the sidewalk and nobody stopped and paid attention to it, is it still art? The answer is no. Time,
Well, didn't Monet get made fun of for?
Yeah.
'cause you can't even paint. You got to do dots and stuff.
time, artist, audience, subject matter decides if it's art.
Okay.
And they all have to be in agreement. It's like the tree that falls in the forest, nobody hears it, it didn't fall.
Right.
So the other side of it is, I tell new artists, never worry about it. If you go to Walmart and if you go to Food Lion, they both sell groceries. The only difference is one is called Food Lion and one is called Walmart groceries.
Right.
So if Walmart says, well, this is not art, then they're saying this is not Walmart's art. They don't.
Right.
So you have to get a thick skin and say, you know what? I'm going to Food Line. I'm going to take it someplace where it is art.
And we're very fortunate because, like, we actually, I met Don Flo.
Yeah, I know Don Flo.
With Paul Lowe one time.
I have some work in this building now.
Well, I'm getting ready to probably call him here in the next day or two. He's agreed to do Camel City Chat.
Yeah.
And I want to do it up outside.
Yeah.
But talk about someone who is a influential person in
Yeah.
town who loves art.
Yeah, he has.
Goodness gracious, he loves art. And so, I mean, that's awesome. I know that we've gotten, you know, people sometimes will get on Alan, who has done the show. I love Alan.
Yeah.
I mean, Alan really pushes Winston out there.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a lover of art and stuff. And so, you know, we've talked to Nigel about the Black Theater Festival.
Yeah.
We're so blessed to have all these things here.
Yeah.
And we're blessed to have you here too.
Yeah. I appreciate
and
it.
I really appreciate it. I can't thank you enough for doing the show.
I appreciate
we'll
being
put
here.
your we'll put your website in the
Mm-hmm.
show liner notes. But as you know, as this moves forward, I'm doing this because I want to meet people.
That's what I do.
You know, you got the people that have 10 million views out there. They're doing it for, you know, the sensational.
10 million
or
brews.
whatever. So
Yeah.
I mean, hopefully we'll gain traction. We're almost to 100 subscribers. I still can't believe we got 100 people that that
Yeah.
subscribe to this. But this is a love of me and hope as it catches, you know, as we
Yeah.
interview more people. But I can't thank you enough. This is awesome. You're a wonderful man, and your artwork is beautiful. And I want to talk to you about that other, about maybe trying to do something with housing and
Yeah.
interpreting that, because I think that's something that we could both use for you know, realtors and home builders and stuff, and go from there.
Yep.
All right.
All right.
Thanks, buddy.
Thanks
I
a lot.
appreciate you.
Appreciate you.
Like, subscribe, watch. We'll be back next week with more Camel City Chat. The man, Owen Daniels. Owens Daniels is a wonderful photographer. We'll give you his website. Check him out. And I'll just go ahead and do it right now.
Yeah.
I got a sponsor now.
There you go.
Smitty's
Notes.
Notes. I want you to
Just
go
get
and
this
check out
Smitty's-
Smitty's Notes.
Smitty knows that's been good to me.
Jeff is the man. So this
That's
is even
it.
better having you doing. Jeff's the
I got
man.
to photograph him.
Please, please, please check out Smitty's Notes and subscribe to that as well. Like I said, we'll be back with more Camel City Chat. I'm John McPherson. That's Owens Daniels, and we'll see you next time.